Hello everyone, it's Tamara Bennett from Southern Adoornments Decor, and I don't know what is going on with Facebook today, but I'm having to go live from my iPad because it's just doing the little circling wheel of death on my phone and would not allow me to go live from my phone. So I'm here anyways. I'm like the U.S. Postal Service. Neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor hail shall keep me from teaching you to paint today. So I may have a wee bit difficult time seeing your comments. I think I can see them, but my iPad's just a little further away than I'm used to. So this is a pretty detailed door hanger, so I don't know how long this will take, but I designed this one myself on my iPad using the Procreate app, and I put a lot of work and details into this design. So as you can see, the entire design is laser etched on the surface of the door hanger right now, and it's got a lot going on. So we're going to break this down for you step by step, and we're going to start by painting the entire background a light gray color, and then we'll do some stripes, and then we'll start working on the flowers. Now, if you purchased one of these laser etched blanks like this, you can paint right over all the words and everything on it. You don't have to paint around all of these tiny details. You can paint right over the top of them, and you're still able to see these lines even afterwards. Okay, so we've got a lot of colors we're using. They are all Deco Art Americana craft acrylics. I apologize, but I may not be answering a ton of questions today since I can barely see your comments. This color is called Gray Sky. It's going to be the background color. And then we're going to do stripes in this slate gray color, which is a little bit darker. So it's going to probably look white to you guys, but it is Gray Sky. And I'm just going to go the quick way here and just squirt it over the entire door hanger. And then I'm going to get a fairly wide tip brush, or wide flat tip brush, and we're just going to start spreading it out. And actually I'm going to get that brush just a little wet because it's pretty stiff. And we're just going to spread this out. Now, after I do this, you won't be able to see the etched, you guys won't be able to see the etched lines on the door hanger anymore, but I still will be able to. How is everybody today? Is it rainy where you're at? It's kind of rainy type weather here today, but it can't make up its mind. It'll rain a little bit and then it'll clear off, and I don't know, it's just overcast. My mom and I just finished shipping a bunch of y'all's packages. So if you had placed an order late last week, we just shipped them today. I think we sent out like 59 orders or something like that. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all so much. But yes, especially since it's Corona time right now and we're all in quarantine, I'm trying to do it myself on my kitchen table, and so we've made a few mistakes here and there and sent a couple people the wrong thing. But you know, I'm about to fire myself if Corona doesn't hurry up and end, because I'm not super detail oriented, and so having to make sure everybody's got the right things in their package is not that easy, especially if you're not a detail person like I am. I'm not. I need somebody who is very good at attention to detail to be handling that. So I'm hoping now that things are opening back up, because restaurants here in Kentucky are going to be opening up, I think, next week. Maybe I'll be able to hire some help with the shipping and won't make as many mistakes. But anyway, you know, we're all just trying to get by right now and doing the best we can with what we got. All right, so this whole thing we've painted Gray Sky, and I can show you guys up close if you like that I can still see the lines. So let me show you. It's still wet, but see, you can still very much see the lines etched in the surface. Let's dry this because it may need a second coat, and I'm not sure yet. Okay, I think it's going to be fine, especially because this is a very busy door hanger. So we're going to be doing some stripes in it. So the next color we're going to be using is a slightly darker gray. It's called Slate Gray, and it's just a little bit darker. I'm going to switch to a little bit of a better brush. That one was really stiff. I feel like I need to move some things out of the way. I need room. Get out of the way. There we go. Okay, and this is not exactly long enough. Let me get a longer ruler. I need a yardstick. There we go. And then we're going to do stripes going up and down. So I'm going to start out, I'm just going to use the little grooves in this side of the door hanger and line it up. And I'm going to do this area dark gray. So you can draw this on with a pencil if you like. This is going to be a very subtle, well, it may not even be dark enough. Let's paint it and then see. Because now that I'm painting it, I'm realizing that this gray might not have even been dark enough. Hang on. I want it to be subtle, but I don't want it to be... No, this will work. Okay, it'll be fine. I was afraid at first it wasn't dark enough. And I'm just eyeballing this. I'm going to move it over. And let's see, that will be where the line starts. Probably would have been better if I'd drawn this on with pencil, but let's see. I want it to be about double width. Yeah, okay, we're going to have to measure. I thought I was going to be able to wing this without measuring because I don't like to measure. I got that one pretty close. Okay, there's where the next line needs to begin. And then you, if you're doing it like this where you're just using your ruler kind of as a guide, be sure and wipe it off in between or you end up making a mess. Lay it down again. Now everything in between here needs to be painted the darker gray. Can you guys tell I am not a perfectionist? My dad would have, he is a perfectionist. He would have measured this 3 times before he started painting. And he would have drawn it with like perfect pencil lines and all that. Nope, not me. We just wing it. Well, it looks pretty good, but I didn't get close enough to the line of the yardstick. There we go. Okay, let me wipe this off before I get gray paint everywhere. Okay, we're going to measure over 3 more inches. Here, if this might make us do a little bit of a better job if I use some chalk. Well, I said that, and I don't think I have any chalk over here. Here's a pencil. Okay, 3-inch mark. That's close enough. And then we're just going to line up those little marks. And actually we are going to draw a line because I forgot I got to measure over 3 more inches. Y'all just keep laughing at me. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. That looks pretty good right there. So we're just going to paint this area here gray, dark gray. And then there's a pencil line right there. We'll draw up to that line. Let me just trace it. There we go. And then just fill in the middle. Once you get all the other details on here, any little imperfections in these stripes are going to be barely noticeable anyways. So, just wing it. Okay, measure over 3 more inches. And that's about right there. So, we're just going to draw a line there. And paint the other part of this gray. This is probably going to be the hardest part of the door hanger, doing the stripes. Which you don't have to do stripes if you don't want to. You could do polka dots, or you don't. You could just do a solid color if you want to. Okay, we've got our stripes on there. Let me just toss that aside. I don't have enough room up here for it anyway. Okay, well let's dry this and then we'll go ahead and start painting our flower. Facebook's app, crap, hang on now. Facebook's app ran an update and now half the app is not working for me. And I thought I was going to be able to do this without pulling my hair back, but I think I'm a little frazzled. I want to start with these big, huge flowers here. They are going to be so pretty with this blue. This color is called Bright Blue, but it's actually a little too bright. And because I don't have the exact color that I want, I'm going to kind of try to make it. So I'm going to mix a little bit of this bright blue with some Hauser dark green. So we're adding just a tad bit of dark green to the bright blue to see what that makes. And then we're gonna go from there. So let me mix this up. I wanted a little bit of a, it's like a mixture between a turquoise and a navy. I don't know. I just wanted like a different color than usual, and that didn't get dark enough, so let me add some more. I didn't have the exact color that I wanted, so here we go. This is looking about right. It's kind of a blend between a navy and a deep, deep turquoise. I'm not even sure what you would call that. Would that be like an indigo? Is indigo kind of a turquoise color? I don't know. Okay, let me dampen my brush a little bit. I don't normally do that, but these bristles are not behaving, so try to make them behave a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to paint these flowers here that color. Ooh, it's perfect. The color is perfect, not my painting. But I think I need a round tip brush, so let's switch. I was trying to do it with a flat tip brush, and I was having a hard time getting the curves in those petals just right. So sometimes it's easier just to give up on a brush and switch to another one if it's not working for you. Facebook really ought to figure out a way where I could hear your comments verbally, kind of like in a Zoom call. That would be fun. Of course, I know we'd probably all be talking over each other, but, you know, if there was a way to, like, be able to hear each other, that would be fun. This one is going to be so pretty. Somebody has already spoken for this one. We do offer them for sale in our shop, so I'll put this one in there. But this particular one that I'm painting right now has already been spoken for. Somebody saw the mock-up of it and wanted it immediately. So I better not get too attached to it. You guys ever get attached to your door hangers after you paint them and you don't want to get rid of them? It's like I know I could paint another one just like it, but if I was going to paint it for myself, I probably wouldn't make the time. It's usually how it goes. Let me just go around the center now and get that filled in good. There's a little spot up here that I missed. Okay, so we've got that painted blue. This one down here needs to be painted blue also. I'm just using my little round tip brush, filling in the petals. And because the design is laser etched in the surface, it makes it real easy to just go around and just fill it in. It's like paint by number. Now, if you were using the template for this, you would start out by painting the entire thing gray and doing your stripes first, and then you would lay down your graphite paper and transfer the flowers to the design after your background is painted. That would make it much easier for you. So this is a pretty small round tip brush, but I'm doing my best to kind of smooth out my brush strokes. But even so, when I'm done, you'll still be able to see some of the strokes. It'll just look like a texture. So I'm not too worried about that. I think it'll just give the petals just a little bit of texture to them. But yeah, anytime you're getting way too many brush strokes, try switching to just a slightly larger brush and then doing longer, broader strokes to smooth them out. Okay, now that I've done all the petals, I'm just going to take my brush and just go around and around this center area. The center is going to be painted like an off-white color, so we're going to leave it alone right now. And I think we may be able to get away with one coat on this. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see when it dries on the blue. Next, let's paint these flowers. They're going to be like a really pretty coral color with a little bit of shading in them. So this color is called Melon. It's very similar to the coral blush color, so if you have that, that color will work also. And I'm going to switch to a filbert tip brush for this one. Filbert tip. The reason is because it will allow me to do nice smooth strokes against the edges of these flowers, and it'll allow me to do really soft looking petals up next to the top like this. Flat tip brush, it's a little hard to do that. And then if I was using a round tip brush, you would be seeing every single stroke I'm making. So for covering this large area right here in the middle of the flower, it's better to have a filbert or something like that that you can use to smooth out that paint a little bit. Okay, while this paint is still wet, I'm going to take a little bit of this red. It's called Watermelon Slice, and I'm going to switch to a angle brush, and we're going to do a little bit of shading on this flower. Let's see, I want a real small angle brush. This one, no, yeah, this one will work. It's really tiny. And I'm just going to put it on the longest point of the angle tip. Just going to barely get a little bit of that on there, and then I'm going to put it along the lines of the flower and pull upwards. Now I'm going to go back and get a little bit more of that coral and just kind of blend it right on top of it. It kind of takes down the harshness a little bit. This shading works best if your paint stays wet. So you got to work kind of quickly, or you've got to use some kind of paint medium that will allow your paint to stay wet. I'm just going to use a little bit of water and some wet paint and just keep doing these little strokes. So I'm using the longest point of that angle tip brush, and I'm just going along the lines in the flower with the red. Oops, I just kind of smoothed out exactly what I'd just done. I didn't mean to smooth all that away. That's the thing with shading, is sometimes you get to doing it and then you end up undoing what you just did and you don't mean to. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let me take a little bit more of the coral and add it up here. Okay, I'm going to dry this and do a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit of the coral, and I'm dipping just the corner in the red. I'm going to go over this one again because the paint was kind of thin. And I'm just adding like a second layer with the shading. It's very pretty. I'll try to show you guys up close in a minute so you can see just a little bit better what I'm doing. Let me get some of the red off my brush so I can do some more of the coral in the center here. This is like therapy right here. I get real quiet and I'm like, oh, this is so relaxing. Get a little bit more red. There we go. Okay, before I do any more work to it, let me show you what I've got done. It's not perfect, but with the shading, it's very, very pretty. Look how pretty that is. And that's the coral and the watermelon slice color. I still have my filbert tip brush here, so let's do the same thing to this flower down here. Each flower on this door hanger has a twin flower on the opposite side. So there's two coral ones here, there's the blue ones in the corner, and then there's some more in the other corners that are going to be cream and purple. So we're painting this one coral. I think this time, instead of doing the shading first, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 coats of the coral and then do the shading on top of that, because I noticed that I did not put my coral on thick enough on that first flower. So let's dry this and do a second coat of coral. There we go. And then we'll do the second coat. And then while that second coat of coral is still wet, we'll do the shading. There we go. Okay, done with that brush. Let me get my angle brush back out. Put a little bit of coral on it, and then red on the very tip of the angle brush. Now, I kind of have to work backwards because on that one I was pulling this way. So this one, I'm going to start at the base of the flower and then pull up toward the top of the flower with the red. Because you want the darkest part of the red to be down in the bottom of the flower, like the base of the flower. There we go. Let me get my brush a little wet. And now we're going to take it, we're going to blend. You also have to make sure and keep your brush kind of going the same direction. It'll just save you a little bit of headache later when you're shading. Hello, honey. I'm doing Facebook Live.
Are you currently on?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook Live. You want to come say hi to everybody?
No, I'm good.
No? You like my flowers?
Right there.
No, they're up there.
Right up there.
Quit waving at everybody.
Right there.
Y'all say hi to my husband. He just got home.
Y'all can say bye to her husband.
Okay, bye. Okay.
Did you get the mail?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Alright, so we've got the 2 coral flowers done. The lighting in here is really rough today. Sorry about that. Let's do these little flowers in coral. I don't know why I've got that line running through there. Do you see that? Let me fix that real quick. I've got a weird line running right through the paint on the gray. Let me rinse this brush out. Let me get a little bit of that light gray again. See if I can, yeah, I think it's going to come out. I don't know what that's about. There we go. And just paint back over it with a light gray. I think I might have painted over it with the dark gray. I wasn't paying attention. Guys, I am a little bit frazzled today. It's like squirrels are in here distracting me. There we go. That looks better. Okay, now we're going to paint this flower and this flower a kind of a cream color. Let's see. I think I'm going to use this one. It's called Light Mocha. This is called Light Mocha, like I said, and we're going to use the same filbert tip brush that we used on the coral flowers. And then we might do a little bit of shading around the outside too. So I'm actually painting over the top of these little flowers here. They're kind of like little pussy willow branches. And so I'm just going to paint right over the top of those, and then we will add those on top of this flower because it's almost too hard to like paint around everything. So I'm just going to try to smooth this out the best I can to get the brush strokes out. We'll dry it, do a second coat, and then we'll do a little bit of shading on it too. There we go. Hang on, we'll go ahead and paint this flower up here in this corner too. Just do double duty, 2 flowers at one time. Now fill in the middle. Sorry if I'm kind of quiet today. I feel funny because I can't like talk to you guys as much because I can't read your comments. Is that a styrofoam egg carton you use with your paint? Yes, I do that every time I paint. I always use egg cartons. Someone who was watching a long time ago told me that I should try an egg carton, and I did, and then after that I never went back to using paper plates or foam plates ever again. I just love it that much. It keeps the paint from drying out quickly. And it keeps all of my colors kind of separated so they're not running across the plate and drying out quickly, and they're not bumping into each other and making a mess. It just helps, feels like everything's kind of just nice and neat and orderly. And I need all the help I can get in that department. Okay, so now I'm going to get a slightly darker color. This one's called Burlap, and we're going to do a little bit of shading around the outside edges of the flower with the burlap. I think it's dark enough. We'll see. So using the same technique, I'm just using my little angle tip brush, and I'm putting it on the top part of the brush, putting the darker color on the top tip of the brush, and then I'm just smoothing it around the outer edges of the flower. Let me go back and get the lighter color and just blend a little bit. This is not the shading is not necessary, I guess I should say. Like, so if you're a beginner painter, this door hanger will look just as cute without the shading. I'm just trying to challenge myself to do a little bit more shading here and there, and so that's why I'm doing it. But it's definitely not a have-to requirement. But if you do want to challenge yourself to try something new, try the shading. You just might surprise yourself. Okay, we'll get some more of the lighter color. We're just going to work it in. Making sure to cover all that gray background there. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's not as pretty as the coral flowers, but, ooh, that lighting, sorry. There you go, you can kind of see there how I have just the outer edges shaded. Let me fix that ring light. It's so glaringly, like, bright. Maybe I need to back it up a bit. Is that better? Colors, yes, the colors are, I don't know, when I hold it up like this though, it's still kind of, there you go, now you can kind of see. Okay, I do believe my blue flowers are going to need a second coat, so let's do that real quick. Here's the brush I was using. It was a little round tip brush. I'm just going to fill in the centers of these little blue petals real quick. Now that they've dried, you can see that they need a second coat. And if you're just now watching, we did make this color from scratch using bright blue and dark green. It's like a hunter green. We mixed it together to make this real pretty dark bluish color. It's got like a turquoise hint, a hint of turquoise to it. Very pretty. If you guys are enjoying this, I would appreciate it so much if y'all would sprinkle the love by hitting that little button at the bottom that shows it to your friends in your news feed. Because who knows, somebody might be sitting at home right now and needs a little bit of inspiration to pick up a paintbrush and paint. And it might just be your, you showing it to them that makes all the difference. And of course it blesses the socks off of our business because it shows our videos to even more people. And that's how we grow our page and our business and are able to continue providing all of these videos for you guys every Tuesday. I appreciate it. Oh, and we do a drawing at the end of every month from all the people who have sprinkled the love, and we send out Happy Mail. So there's that. You'll get in the drawing for the Happy Mail. So just make sure and let us know in the comments that you sprinkled the love so that, you know, we're able to contact you if you're one of the winners. I'm going to switch back to the filbert chip brush now, and we're going to have to make another color because I did not have the color that I wanted. So I have this color called Grape Juice. It's a dark purple. We're going to use it to make 3 shades of purple. Like a dark purple, and then a lighter purple, and then maybe a medium. I don't know yet. So let me get a little bit of white and mix it with, let's see, that one there. We're going to make kind of a lilac shade. I think we're going to need more purple. I wanted a real pretty light purple. So I'm adding quite a bit of white. This is looking perfect. Okay. Now we're going to take our filbert tip brush, and there's two of these. There's one here and here. I'm going to paint the whole thing the lightest color of purple first, and then we'll go back and we'll add other shades of purple afterwards. There we go. And then we're going to do this one that way. There we go. That covered really well, so I think I'm going to take my angle tip brush now and do a little bit of shading on the outside part with the dark purple, just around the outer edges of the flower. There we go. And then we'll do some down this edge here. Look at my picture real quick. Remember where the purple, dark purple goes. And then this next area is going to be a little bit lighter. Hold on, I see a spot that needs to be blended. Oh, and I forgot, we got to do this flower too while we're at it. Just blending a little bit of that dark purple around the edges. A little bit more. It's hard to get just the right amount of paint on your angle tip brush when you're shading. I always end up having to go back and get more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me switch back to the filbert tip brush. Now we need a color that's even lighter than this, like a really, really light purple. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white over here and add just a little bit of this light purple to it to make an even, really, really light purple. So we got 3 shades of this one color. This one's going in the middle part of the flower, like that. I'm gonna switch back to my filbert or my round tip brush and get my darkest shade of purple now, and that it's almost like a peacock feather. See how this darkest shade goes right here in this little teardrop area? So we got 3 shades of purple going on, and we've got some shading in the outer part of the flower. Let's dry it and darken it up a little bit more. She said you always explain what you're doing, what brushes and what strokes. I try really hard. Sometimes I get excited and talking and I forget to explain what I'm doing. And then sometimes I think I'm just rattling and not making any sense and rambling. But apparently I'm doing something right if you guys are, you know, gleaning some kind of knowledge from it. So, okay. Let me show you these flowers up close because they're so pretty. See there and there? This is what we have going on so far. Okay, now we've got to do the greenery. I told you guys this one was pretty involved. It's got lots of details, so this one may take a little longer than our normal time that we spend together here on Facebook. Okay. What kind of brush do I want? I think I want a round tip brush, but a different one. Maybe one that's got a little bit more bristles to it. And I'm using Hauser Medium Green. And we're just going to paint in each of these little petals with the Hauser Medium Green. Trying to put it on rather thick so I don't have to do another coat. And then there's like some little berries at the end of some of these little vines here. I'm not painting the berries. The berries are going to be a different color later. So for right now, I'm just painting the green part. Now if you are painting it on this laser etched blank, don't let all of these lines intimidate you. Just kind of look at the picture, figure out what needs to be green, and just paint it. Because there is a lot going on here. And some of these leaves kind of hide behind other flowers, like this one here is halfway behind another flower. So you just kind of have to gently put it on there. Like I said, when I designed this one, I got a little carried away with all the details. And then I realized, oh, this one might be a little bit complicated. So this is not an expert level door hanger, but it's definitely a little bit more involved than some of my other ones. That's okay. That's how we grow. We challenge ourselves. I'm still, even though I'm teaching you guys all the time, I'm still trying to challenge myself to learn new skills and improve my own painting skills so that I can continue to teach you guys new stuff. For example, just last month I taught myself how to do tie-dye, how to paint tie-dye. And after I taught myself how to do it, I recorded a tutorial, and I'm going to teach the Painters Clubhouse how to do it in June. And if you're not sure what the Painters Clubhouse is, that is my membership where I teach women how to paint door hangers. It's a monthly membership. It's $37 a month. It's only open 2 times a year. Right now it's closed. But we will open it up in late August, August 22nd. So if you want to mark your calendars, you can join then and start learning how to paint door hangers with us. It's an amazingly fun group. We have a little over 1,000 women in that group, all improving their skills every single month. It's amazing to see what these ladies are doing. If you're a Painters Clubhouse member, give us a shout out in the comments. And I'm getting y'all see what I'm doing? I'm getting my arm in the purple paint. I can't be doing that or I'm going to mess this whole thing up. Try to keep my arm off the door hanger. Okay, this is the little pussy willow branches that I was telling y'all about. So I'm just drawing in the green part, and we'll paint the little gray things later. I don't know what you call them. They're kind of like little buds or blossoms or something. I don't know. I don't know much about flowers, but I do like to paint them. So I'm just working my way around clockwise here to get all these leaves and vines filled in. Amazing. I'm inspired all the time by these ladies. They're moving and shaking and doing amazing things. Stretching themselves, challenging themselves to learn new things. And many of them have started businesses, and they're growing those businesses. And it's amazing to see the confidence in them that is blossoming over time. Trying to decide if this was, I think this is a green leaf right there behind that. And then we've got some more right here. There we go. We have tons of videos for members of the clubhouse to watch to like learn new techniques like hand lettering and bow making, and we have a bunch of different door hanger templates and tutorials that they can dive right into. And so whenever the mood strikes and they're ready to start painting, there is never a lack of inspiring designs to paint and tutorials to watch. So it's awesome. Okay, now this is where I was talking about where the vine comes up on top of, or the branch comes up on top of this little flower here. Ah! I just did it again. I just got my hand in the green leaf there. I'm terrible about doing that. So we're just painting that right on top of that flower. There we go. Okay, let me just look and see if any of these need a second coat of green on any of the leaves or anything. I think they look pretty good. There's a little, this one's a little thin. And that one there. Okay, All right, so now let's paint the little berries that go on each of these. So these berries are more, they're rounded, and then the other ones are more oval. Okay, so I painted these little berries with the watermelon slice color. This watermelon slice color just pops on top of all of this gray. Isn't it pretty? So I'm just giving it another quick coat on these little berries. There we go. And then I may take just a little bit of this coral color, the melon, and I'm going to add just a little bit of a shading of the coral on top of the berries, just to kind of give them like a light spot on one side, like the sun is hitting part of it. That looks good. There we go. Let me add a little bit more of the darker red though to kind of blend it. Okay. Now the other ones are the pussy willow branches, and we're doing those with this color called zinc. It's a really dark gray. Okay, let's rinse out the round tip brush, and then we're going to use this color called zinc, and we're just going to paint in these little bitty oval colored or oval shaped buds, I guess. That's what we'll call them. I kept calling them berries. They're not really berries. They're like buds. This one has so many details, but sometimes it's all the details that really make a door hanger special. It's like makes it a showstopper. You know, when people walk up to your door, they'd be like, wow, that is gorgeous. So sometimes I like to focus on all the little details. And then let's do the same thing to this one up here. I'm just doing this with a round tip brush. Just kind of going around the circles and filling them in. Now this one kind of went behind that flower there. Trying to make sure I don't stick my arm in any wet paint either. I'm going to use my filbert tip brush again, and I'm going to use this color here that we used on these flowers. It was called Light Mocha, and I'm going to paint the centers of my blue flowers this color. And I'm just using a filbert tip brush, just painting a circle in the middle of these flowers, because right now they're still gray. Okay, I think it's going to take 2 coats also. Let me dry it. Carrie was talking about painting her watering can navy last night. She said the navy took 4 coats. Wow. Must have been kind of thin paint, because I don't think my navy usually takes 4 coats. Okay, I think that's good. Now we get to do the fun part, adding all of the little details. So this is what we've got so far. Isn't it gorgeous? Ooh, you know what else we forgot though? We forgot to add any shading to our leaves. So you know how I noticed when I held it up, this stuff here has dimension and this didn't, like the green leaves don't. Now I didn't do any shading on these blue flowers, but it would be kind of difficult to do shading on those. So I think I'm just going to add some accents to those and call it a day. So let me add a drop of this dark green. It's Hauser dark green, and get my little angle tip brush, and we'll do just some quick little shading accents on these leaves. Like around the bottom side of the leaves, we'll add just a little bit of dark green. And then along the edges of the vines. Now with these branches and leaves and vines and stuff, you don't have to, whoops, I used way too much there. You don't have to blend as much, I guess, because it's so narrow. It's a real narrow area, so you can just kind of add it on there a little bit more willy-nilly than the way you might have been doing it on the other ones. kind of doing it like up the edge of the stem. And then around the bottom part of the leaves. I'm not going to want to sell this one. It's so pretty. There we go. Do a little bit of green up the stem. Just do a little bit over here on the bottom side of our leaf. It really works best if when you're shading, if you can dip in both colors at the same time, kind of side by side. It's like a two-stroke method or one-stroke method, whatever you call that. And it seems to work better that way. All right, I think I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead because that looks pretty good. Okay, so now let me show you the difference. Now when I hold it up, you can see a little bit of dimension on those branches and leaves and things. Let's get a round tip brush, a really fine point round tip brush. Here we go. Making it even more fine point. I'm going to get some black. And now we're going to do our little tiny details. You could also do these with a paint pen, but I think I want to do them with a round tip brush today. I'm just going to dab in there, and I'm just going to do some little dots and circles inside this little flower here. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. They're actually laser etched in this door hanger blank, so I'm just painting right over the laser etched design. There we go. Do this one down here in this corner. Hope I don't get my arm in it later. Get a little bit more black. Oh, did I miss one? No. Okay. And then there's some in the center of these flowers also. If you want to get a free birthday cake template, all you have to do is download our app from your app store. It's called the Southern Adoornments Shop app. And there is a birthday cake template in there that you can download for free. And you can paint your own birthday cake door hanger. They have it for Android or Apple. And I usually send out notifications through that app when we have specials and when I'm going live and things like that. So there's lots of benefits to having the app. And so many of you guys have told me that you love, love, love shopping from the app, that it's made your shopping experience better. It gives you the capability of creating a wish list. So that if you've got some favorites and you're like kind of making a list, you can create a wish list in there. And it keeps track of all that for you. Because I know if you're like me and you're shopping from your like Safari browser on your iPhone, there's so many tabs that get opened up in the Safari browser that it can be very distracting. And the next thing you know, you've kind of like lost your cart and what you were working on. And, you know, especially if you're like a slow shopper like I am, it takes me a while sometimes to make up my mind on what all I'm getting. And so a lot of times I'll lose the cart just because I was too busy taking my time. Okay, I'm going to switch to a skinnier brush because this one is painting a little thicker than what I wanted. Okay, let me check this one. Okay, no. That one is like, it's like fraying out. I need to repair some of my brushes. Here's one that's real skinny. Nope. Here we go. Okay, this one's a really tiny fine tip brush. I wanted something real fine to do some of these fine details. Okay, now I'm just going to add a cute little outline around some of these flowers here. Using my tiny little round tip brush. And I'm not perfectly outlining them. This is kind of meant to be just somewhat whimsical. So I'm trying to do it with a really light touch. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this flower here. And I'm going to just kind of try to do it quickly so that it doesn't look like I tried too hard. Same thing on this one. If my paint's not flowing very well, if that happens to you, just get a little bit of water, mix it with your black paint. It'll thin your paint out just a little bit and your paint should flow better. Well, I said it would. There we go. It still wasn't flowing right. Okay, now let's do some details on our blue flower. Just kind of going around each petal, but I'm not completely getting it perfect around each petal. It's more like an accent to define the petals. And then we'll do some around the edge here, around the circle in the middle. There we go. To me, this is the fun part, adding all these little details. Livens it up. Okay. Now let's do the vines, or the leaves. Just add just a little bit of detail around the edges. I'm not outlining everything, I'm just kind of adding a few black lines here and there to kind of make things, all the details pop. Now on these little pussy willow buds, I'm just going to do a little black line around each of these on the bottom side, kind of like a shadow. And then I'll do the same thing on these little berries. Sorry, I can't see your comments right now. Hang on. I will come up and see if I can see some in a moment. This is very tedious. It's hard to read comments and paint all of these at the same time. Okay. Looking at the overall thing to see if anything needs an accent or anything, and I don't think so. So I'm going to rinse that out. I'm going to get a little bit of white and do the same thing now, but I'm just going to do some little highlights instead of outlines. So instead of using white, hang on. It's hard to talk with a paintbrush in your mouth. Instead of using just regular old white, I'm using a little bit of this light mocha because it's kind of an off-white. Because I haven't used any white. Like white. It's whiter if you say white, just so you know. I haven't used any white on any of the store hangers so far, so it kind of makes more sense to use this off-white color to kind of stay in keeping with the color scheme of the door hanger. And so I'm just going to use a little bit of it and do some little accents on just a few areas to make it look like the light is bouncing off of some of this. I don't want to go overboard, so I'm just going to try real hard not to get carried away. Oh, I just realized I forgot to do any black on those little buds there. So I'll have to go back and add that. It's really hard not to get carried away when you're doing highlights and things like that. So just try to do the less is more thing and not do it on every single thing in the image. Okay, that's probably good. So let me get my black again. I forgot to do some on these little berries down here. now we can do our lettering, the part you've all been waiting for. Okay, I'm gonna get, let's see, what kind of brush do I want to get? I think I want to use a filbert tip brush, but a really small one. So many brushes. Too many choices, too many choices. Okay, this might work. It's not really filbert, but it's flat tip. Also, this is when you want to use your thinned out black paint. So remember how we added some water to our black paint? When you're doing your lettering, it works better if your lettering is slightly thinned out with a little bit of water. Your paint will flow, your letters will look smoother. Now, I'm not freehanding this on here. This lettering is laser etched in the surface of the door hanger, and all I'm doing is painting right over it. So if you buy one of the laser etched blanks from our shop, you can do the same thing. Your lettering will turn out perfect. All you'll have to do is trace right over it. The only thing about using thinned out paint like this is sometimes when you're going back and forth from your egg carton, you tend to pick up little drips and splatter them across the door hanger, and I did that in a couple of places. So when I'm done, I'll have to go back and kind of try to get those off or paint over them a little bit. So I kind of need to move a little slower and not yank the paint up and out of my egg carton so I don't get those little splatters. It's hard to do when you're excited and you want to finish it. I know that it's probably backwards too because we're videoing here in selfie mode, so I'm not left-handed, by the way. It's just in mirror format right now because I'm looking at it in selfie mode so I can see what I'm doing. So I may be able to flip the camera in a bit and show you guys the lettering the right direction when I'm done. This is actually my hand lettering. The words Home Sweet Home, it's my hand lettering. It's not a font. I hand drew it on the iPad for this design. Hand lettering is definitely tricky. It's one of those things that it's like a skill you've got to hone and practice over time. I have been working on mine for a long time and I'm still not 100% happy with it most of the time. You know how like you always think somebody else's is better than yours, and so I've always had that problem. I've always thought other people's hand lettering was better than mine. And so I've struggled with that mentally, to kind of accept it, but it helped a lot back when I was doing paint parties because people at the paint parties would say, "Oh my goodness, your lettering is gorgeous," and they would like compliment you. And that would always help like boost my confidence a little bit. And so it did help a little bit with that, but just because I was hearing that all the time. But I still have doubts on it. I still don't like it as much as other people like it. But we're always more self-critical of our own work. Now I am pretty proud of this Home Sweet Home that I did on here. Like this is probably some of my better hand lettering work compared to some of the stuff I've done in the past. But I look back at some of my older door hangers from way back when and I'm like, wow, my lettering was rough. But I just was working with what I had. I didn't know any better, didn't do any better. That was a skill that I had to learn and practice. Almost there. We're on the home stretch now. I feel like I'm holding my breath just a little bit. I don't know why. It's like, don't mess it up now, you're almost done. This one was tedious. It had lots of details. Like I was saying, if you're a beginner painter and you've never painted before, this is probably not the one you want to start with. Unless you're just like a really gung-ho, brave kind of person. It's got lots of details. Okay, let me see if I can flip the camera. And then I'm going to hold it up and show you what it looks like with the lettering going the correct direction. When I tried to flip the camera last week, it wasn't working properly. It was distorting things. Did it flip? There we go. Is that right? Okay. I think I flipped it. Is my shirt correct? Yep. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Look how pretty. Isn't it pretty? I'm very proud of this one. It was very tedious, had lots of details, but it was worth every moment. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, and if you paint one of these, I want to see it. And I appreciate you guys hanging around with me today. I know I wasn't able to answer your questions or your comments quite like I normally do because I couldn't see the comments very well. But, you know, you guys stuck with me and I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much and have enjoyed spending time with you guys today. I will see you again on Friday when I do my Friday Fab 5 here on Facebook at 9:30 a.m. So I'll see you then. Y'all have a great day. Bye, y'all.